This is the final video for the bench clamp series, and in this video I will show you the assembly. So we want to go up and want to say new, and we want to say new assembly. Alright, and we have our parts here. I want to say open. We start bringing in our parts. Alright, now some of these are blacked out, and I think that's some of my video settings. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to take off this Real View Graphics, and that should allow us to see all of our colors. It's not as shiny and nice looking, but it will work. The other thing we want to do is we're going to have to bring in 2 of these retention clips. So we can say insert components, and I can say I want 2 part 10s. All right, so there we go. All right, now we've got all of our parts in to our assembly, so let's start putting stuff together. And we're going to start making associations with these parts. And in SolidWorks, under the assembly, the associations are called mates. So we're going to go here, and we're going to start making some mate associations between our different parts. The first part we're going to do is this yellow bracket here. So let's go in, and we want to pick the bottom of this surface, and we're going to pick this surface here. And it's going to default to this coincidence, which basically means that they are going to be touching. All right. And we say, okay. You push enter, or you can click that green check mark. And then we can go over and we can start making a few more. So we're going to pick this ring here and this ring here. And you can see that moves the part over so that those two are concentric with each other, which means that their center points are the same. But you can see now that this piece will still pivot around that point. So we want it to be associated with that as well. So we can pick that ring again, and we can pick this ring. And that makes that one coincidence as well. And if we say enter, now when I grab a hold of it, I can't move that part because it's now locked onto this base. All right, so now we're going to go and we're going to put in this lever here. So there's a few ways we could associate this lever with this bracket. What we're going to do is we're going to do one of the advanced mates, and it's this width one. And what that will do is it will let us pick 2 surfaces on this lever and then 2 surfaces over here, and it will line them all up so they have the same center midpoint. So we'll go here and we'll pick this outside edge, and we'll pick this outside edge. And then let me zoom back out a little bit. You got to kind of move around a lot in this when you're doing these assemblies. And we'll pick this edge here and this edge here. And you can see now that that brought this piece over, so it's lined up in between those two. So they have the same center plane. All right, now we want to move it back so that this piece is into that slot correctly, and it's going to pivot around the same place. So we can go to our standard mates. We can pick concentric. We pick this inner line and this inner line. And basically what concentric means is, like with the width where we gave it the same center plane, concentric gives it the same inner like center point. So that center point's going to be the same, that everything's going to pivot around. All right, push enter, and now you see that this pivots up and down. Now we're going to take this pin and we're going to do the same thing with that pin. So we're going to take this pin and we're going to put it into the center here. Now you can see that it's locked into that alignment, but it can move in and out. So 2 of the things that we could do the same assembly part that we did where we put this centered in there with the same mid plane. But we also know that the length of this pin is the same as the width of this yellow piece. So we can actually just click on this face here and this face here, and it will make them coincident so they're on the same plane. Say OK, and now you can see that that pin is in there. All right, so now let's go and let's start adding to our assembly. So we'll do the same thing with this red pivot point that we did with our arm here. And that will say an advanced mate. We'll pick this face. We want to do width. And we will pick this face. And then we will pick that face and that face. And that brings it in so they have the same center line. All right. And then we'll go to our standard mates, do concentric, pick this inner ring and this ring. That brings them up there. And so now this ring is, or this roller is locked in place, but we want to put the pin in so it looks cosmetically correct. So we'll pick that pin and there. And same thing that we did before. We'll pick this face and this face. And now that pin is locked into place. If you ever kind of get spun around weird, you just click on a face and click the normal to, and it'll bring everything back around so that things look right. That being said, if you're in the mates and you click on a face, it's going to add it to start trying to add things to your mates. All right, so there we go. We've got that in place. Now we want to take this block, this wedge block, and we want to put it into this gap right here. So let's do a width for that. So we'll go to our advanced again. We'll pick this face here and here. And we can pick the outer edges of our main plate. That will give it the same center plane. We'll say OK. And then we'll want to pick the bottom. We'll go back to our standard mating. And we'll pick this face right here. That will bring that block up to there. All right, so now this block is moving back and forth, but we don't have any association between the face of this block and this roller, right? So to do that, we want to go here and we want to pick the outside of this roller. And we want to say tangent to this face right here. And so if we say OK on that, now you can see when we move this wedge block, it rolls that roller up and down, right? And it moves the clamp up and down. All right. All right, so now let's put the screw into place. Okay, so we can click on this outer edge. We'll go to our standard. We'll click on this outer edge and we can click into this face. And that gives us a concentric, which is what we want. But you can see that this will now slide back and forth. We can then go in and click on this part of the ring, or this face, and this face, and that will lock us in there. We say OK. Now you can see on both sides we've got that groove in there, and this is what we made those retaining clips for. So we can actually now go and add those retaining clips in. And really they're cosmetic because, you know, they're not actually functioning in here as a clip as retaining, because the thing that retains it is that mate that we just made, but that's fine. And then that clip just zoomed right to the center, but that's fine. We can go in and we can grab it and move it out. Hopefully, there we go. We'll slide this back. We can take this. All right, so to do this next mate, we actually are going to have to move some things around a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll do a cross-section view. And basically what that allows us to do is to cut down into our piece. And there we go. So that we can see our piece centered in, and we say OK. And this will let us do a few assembly points right here that we need to do. So we're going to go in and we're going to put in these retaining clips, all right? And so the mate that we want to do is going to be an advanced mate, and we'll do width, and we'll pick this face and this face, and then we'll zoom in here and we'll pick this face here. And without doing this cross section, we wouldn't be able, this whole plate would be in the way. We wouldn't be able to see this part right now. And we'll pick this face right here. And you can see there that that clip now slid in. Now, unfortunately, and when I did our cross section here, I eliminated our other clip. So we'll have to go and make it so we can see our other clip again. So we'll say okay to that, and we'll get out of our mate screen. So now we can go back to our cross-section view. We can turn that off, and we can grab this clip here and bring it over. So let's go in back to our mates. We'll make our first mate is going to be that this face, escape, is that this face in here is going to be concentric to that face right there. All right, and it brought our piece up into the middle again, but that's fine because now we'll say okay, and we'll get out of our mate screen here. We'll go back into our cross-section view, and that will let us see things again. So we say okay. And now we can grab this piece and drag it out here where we can see it. All right, so now we're going to do another mate. And we are going to choose an advanced mate once again. We'll do width. And we'll do this face, and that face, and that face. All right, and then that gets us there. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to go in and we want to make some association with this block and the screw. So we're going to go in and we're going to use this width tool here. So to do that, we'll click this, and we want to click on this face here and this face here, and we want to say our max distance apart is going to be 36. And our minimum distance is going to be 0. All right, and we say okay. And what that does is it makes it so that this block can only slide from there to there. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to make it so that when this screw spins, this piece goes in and out. So to do that, we'll go in and we'll go into our mates, and we'll pick a mechanical. We're going to pick screw. All right, and so we're going to pick this face here, and we're going to pick this face on the screw. Okay, and then we're going to change this to distance revolutions, and we're going to make this 4. Say okay, and then we say okay. Now you can see when this moves in and out, the screw rotates. Also, when the screw rotates, the block moves in and out. Okay. And then we'll say okay to this. We want to turn off our split view. All right, so then the last thing, let's put this pin into this handle here. So we can go here and we can go to our mates. We'll pick this surface here and this surface here. That will make us concentric, right? And then we can go to our advanced mates and we can do width. We'll pick this face here and this face here. And then since this is round, we can actually just pick this outer edge. and it will give it the same, that center point to that circle, and our two faces will be centered on each other. We'll say okay. You can see here that you can say it's centered or free. We're going to leave it centered. Say okay. And now that is our bench clamp complete. So if we go here, normal 2, you can see that as this moves up and down, the screw spins. It's limited in its travel, so it can't go past where it wouldn't be engaging. And we can also see that if we tip this, if we spin the wheel, it goes up and down. If we move the block back and forth, or we move any of this, it all works together. All right, here's our final assembly for the bench clamp. I hope you learned a lot while we were doing this, and I will talk to you later.